Hello, Ramirez here, Tidewater Renaissance Fighting Arts. And those of you that are on my Facebook know I've recently done a little bit of a project and I'm finished, at least for now, and I want to share it with you. But first I want to show you a helmet. This is one of my bassinets from Arm Street. You'll notice it comes with a nice riveted Aventail. And there are a lot of helmets out there that you can get that have a riveted Aventail. Some of them may not be riveted Aventails, but they have the vervails, and maybe you put your own Aventail on it. Now, I've been out different events, and I've seen a lot of these that have a beautiful Aventail liner. So, it fluffs it out a little bit. It makes it easier to put on and take off. And I said, hey, I'd like an Aventail liner. But they're kind of hard to come by. There are tutorials on how to make them. And I have a hack, so I'm not going to say this is historically accurate. But if you want an Aventail liner and you're interested in taking some relatively simple steps, I'm going to show you what I did to create an Aventail liner for my other bassinet. So this is my other really nice Hound Skull bassinet. This bassinet came with a chainmail. You'll notice that it looks thicker and everything. And that is because this one has a liner. So I haven't sewn the end of the Aventail, so I can show you pretty easily. But underneath there's the liner. And you have to understand, these helmets came already padded. So there is a helmet liner. I need to pause this so I can put this down. So I put the helmet down and got some extra things I want to show you all. Many of these helmets, they come with the helmet itself padded. So it already had a helmet padding in it, but that didn't extend down to the Aventail itself. And there are a lot of other models out there that you can buy commercially that might have helmet padding, or you may have padded yourself, but it didn't include the Aventail liner. So I wanted to put one in. I'm going to show you what I did, or at least explain what I did. So if there's something that you're interested in, you can do it yourself. Couple of tools you'll need. Set of scissors that are heavy, that'll cut through heavy gambeson style material. I suggest a actual leather sewing needle. They're curved just to help kind of go into the material. Some artificial sinew. This is waxed nylon. This is just really strong stuff. For the kind of things we do, you don't want to just use regular thread, especially regular thread. Even nice linen thread against the chainmail can rough it up a bit, and you may find yourself doing a lot more maintenance. This will make it a little more sturdy. And last but not least, this one is cut up already, so you kind of see, but this is the Lord of Battles, I guess it's like a neck gambeson type piece, so it goes over your neck. It's like a bishop's mantle, so it does have a collar that comes up, has some straps that are on the side, and some straps to close this V. First off, I cut all those off. You don't really need them. And then I cut the actual collar, and there was a lining just that connected the collar that comes up on your neck, so that this hole was pretty close to the size of the helmet. I'm not really worried right now because it's not trying to be historical. I left that opening in. As this sits as a cone, it may be a little bit open when it's like wide, but it does tend to close up on its own when it's being worn. And once again, in a perfect world, the size of the opening would be able to fit over your head. This, even with cutting all the other pieces out, it wasn't quite big enough that just the loop in and of itself was going to get my head through. I did need that little slit there so that it would slide easily over my head. Once I cut this out, the rest of it was relatively actually easy. I placed that at the baseline where the Aventail begins, cut a long section of sinew so that there were like 2 strings, so If you see this is kind of folded, I'll try to open that up. But this is two separate strings. I had it so that those were equal length. So I was basically doubling the amount of, so instead of just being one string, it was two strings, if that makes sense. And I started at the back of the helmet and sewed one side of it, just weaving it through the actual liner and the highest level of the chain. So I didn't obviously, I could have done it through the Aventail liner, the leather up there, but that was going to be a little bit more difficult than I was ready to put in at that particular point. So I actually did it to the highest level of the chainmail. So I put it through the gambeson, then the chainmail, come back to the chainmail, come back into the gambeson, and back and forth around the Aventail on one half. And then I went through and sewed the same thing on the other side. So the gambeson is actually connected directly to the chainmail. And that was it, with the two important exceptions. Artificial sinew, if you're not used to sewing with it, does not hold knots. So the first knot, the knot at the very end, I just did 2 or 3, really made one big gigantic knot and just left that. But when it got to the end, I had to tie it off, and then you have to, I make a couple of knots, and I will also take one more tool that's kind of important to have, which is a lighter. I smoke cigars, so I have a cigar lighter. It's a nice torch lighter. And I melted the end, that big knot, so that it literally fused together. It's one of the benefits of that waxed nylon. It's basically plastic, and if you melt it, you can fuse the knot so it doesn't get untangled. So other than that, those were the basic steps, and I went from a Aventail without a liner to one that now has a liner. Now, some people do sew the bottom of the chainmail to the liner. I chose not to do that at this point, but in the future, I might. I want to test it out, do some fighting with it, see how it goes, see if I really want to have that or if I want to leave that kind of loose to see how it fits. It seems that there are styles done either way, with it sewn at the bottom and with it not sewn at the bottom. So right now I'm just leaving that as not sewn. If it really proves problematic for one reason or another, I will consider sewing that bottom of the Aventail to the liner. So I hope this is helpful. Obviously this isn't, as I said, a big historical thing. It is a little bit of a armor hack in terms of, I want an Aventail liner, maybe I don't want to sew it, maybe I don't want to get all the linen and do all this stuff. How can I do it kind of on the cheap, really simple? That Aventail liner, I think, goes for anywhere between $20 and $30 on Amazon, so it was very easy to get a hold of. This isn't the really kind of heavy padded Aventail that you might see in a Buhurt style helmet, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for that. But if you do harnish fectin and you've seen liners on Aventails and you'll be like, I'd like to have that, but I have no idea how to go about it, I hope this was helpful. If you do have questions, you can always feel free to leave comments in the comment section below, and I'd be happy to answer those. In the meanwhile, once again, this is Ramirez with Tidewater Renaissance Fighting Arts. We're a HEMA group out of Norfolk, Virginia. We also have a harness fectin program, which I am the head of. And if you want to know more about us, I'll leave a link in the description below. Meanwhile, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.